G'day. This is a study sesh that I thought I'd do. It's going to be a pretty quick one, but it's just a random, but I can't really answer questions and stuff, but instead of me doing pre-recorded ones, I'll just do a live one. So it makes it easier because my exam's really soon. So I won't be answering any questions and stuff, but this is to do with Soil Fertility and Fertilizers class from Professor Chakraborty, and it's a really cool class. So I'm just going to share my screen and go through a hell of a lot of pre-answered questions. So share screen. Good. Right, so I'm just going to skim through these. So this is all, why is there only this on at 1? So something is a soil health parameter which can be grouped under soil biological properties, retention, nutrient, soil respiration. C, soil fertility is a measure of the amount of chemicals. It's the amount of chemicals yield, so it's B. Something states the growth and yield of factors limited presents in least. It's the law of minimum, so it'd be B. Something states the increase in yield of crop per unit of available nutrients decrease in sufficiency. So that's diminishing return because it's not sufficient. C, yep. Who developed the first mineral fertilizer? Liebig did. A, which statement cannot be considered as criteria essential for nutrients as Amon and Stout proposed? The function of an element can be substituted. It requires the function cannot be substituted. I reckon B. It's D, damn it. Something is considered as a quasi-silicon, it's a quasi-essential element. Micronutrients are present in plant tissue in concentrations under 1 microgram, so it's C. NPK are always present are plant mobile elements, and they're first seen in older plant tissue, older leaves. The typical symptoms of deficiency is yellowing, so it's nitrogen. Cation exchange capacity is conventionally expressed in milliequivalents per 100 grams, that's B. Some nutrients bond with soil organic compounds in soil to form ring complexes. So the rings are chelate because chela means claw. Something happens across cell membranes. That's a passive uptake happens because active needs energy. Oh, it requires energy. Active uptake requires energy. There you go. Just like active subwoofers. Carbon-nitrogen ratio of something results in equilibrium. So you want a equilibrium of 20 to 30. So 20 there to C. Haber and Bosch is an ammonification process. Something's conversion of any organic plant available nitrogen by soil. Is there another one down the bottom? Immobilization, I think. Mineralization is the conversion of by. Excuse me. I'm so pressured. I already did an exam this morning. I did one for post-harvest operations, and I had to do heaps of study for that too. Oh, pardon me again. Got the hiccups. I should be smoking. I still got an hour to go. Something is conversion of inorganics to plant. So you want to, you can convert it, you want to immobilize it. D. Organic residues with carbon-nitrogen ratios favour rapid. That's under 20 to 1. They favour rapid biological breakdown. It happens too fast. Converts ammonium to nitrate. Nitrosomus does that. Nitrosomus C. Optimum condition for mineralization and nitrification is in neutral to slightly alkaline. Denitrification mostly takes place in around wetlands, so low field that ponds water. Which form of nitrogen loss is associated with nitrogen fixation? Nitrogen loss, ammonium. D. Nitrate is the nitrogen form and is most susceptible to leaching because it's a negative colloid, like the soil colloids. It's a negative anion, like the soil. Something is calculated in its agronic efficiency is calculated in that. Something is defined as a yield in increased crop uptake in nutrients. It's a physiological efficiency. Find out the correct statement. Nitrogen is very mobile. It's A. Well, nitrogen is very mobile in plants and soils. Urea produces acidic residue. The only downside to urea. It's a really good product, but yeah. Which of the following is the right strategy to enhance nitrogen use efficiency? Well, you want to definitely put it deep. You want to mud ball it, and foliar is rad too. So it's got to be all of them. The LCC score of under 4 is usually used for nitrogen and rice, so C. Nitrogen volatilization loss would be high with urea granules, yes, because lac coated, all these are coated, they're all coated, so that's why that slows down the release. Next week. Potassium is a primary mineral substance which is unavailable to the plants because it's not unlocked yet. It's not in a readily available form. The phosphorus cycle is a cycle. It's a biogeochemical, because look, there's your bio, geo, and chemical. It says it there. The nature of about something 62% is still unknown of your phosphorus. Something is the downward movement. It's leaching. Downward movement. Single superphosphate contains 14 to 16, I reckon. No, 16 to 18. Deficiency of something causes accumulation of carbs. It's phosphorus. B. The increase in the amount of clay in the soil increases their phosphorus absorption capacity. Which of the following is monophosphates? Triple. Something helps to regulate the opening and closing of the stomata. Potassium, the K+. The total phosphorus acquired by plants through bacteria and fungus is huge. It's like 75. Yep. Potassium sulfate, something in water, that's soluble. Iron and aluminium oxides are the key components to phosphorus fixation in it's acidic. I cheated there a bit. Luxury consumption occurs when soil nutrient levels they're above. Because that means you're gifting it's doing nothing, it can't work itself out. What's the following is known as langbeinite? It's got magnesium in it, so it's potassium magnesium sulfate. The optimum soil temperature for potassium uptake is 60 to 80 F. Yes. Calcium is the 5th largest element. Limestone effectiveness is for herbicides. It helps with that. Concentration of sulfur in plant ranges from 0.1 to 0.5. Microbial conversion of inorganic sulfur compounds to organic compounds is called microbial conversion of inorganic to organic. So if you're converting to inorganic to organic, you're going to immobilize it. No, mineralize A. No, C is immobilized. Oh, well. Carbon bonded sulfur is 20% of the sulfur. Oxidation of sulfur is mediated by thiobacillus bacteria. Gypsum is land plaster. It's the stuff you can put in walls. The application of something, it's zinc, increases your sulfur. I think it's zinc C. Yeah. Ammonium sulfate contains 24%. No. Yeah, I'll go. Yep, D. I'll go with 24. Something is essential constitute of chlorophyll. Magnesium is right in the center. Well, it's nitrogen and magnesium make up pretty much the whole thing of your chlorophyll pigment. Which of the following magnesium forms not available? Non-exchangeable magnesium is not available to plants. What's the NS ratio? It's 11. Black spots is formed from calcium. Yes. Ammonium phosphate sulfate is composed of 40% ammonium phosphate and 60% ammonium sulfate. B. The Cal-Mag ratio should not be greater than 7:1. Yes, that's because of the cation. No, that's because of your the strength of the cation there, because it's higher than the magnesium, so it'll take over its place and hold its position. So you don't want too much calcium; it'll just hog it. I'm only 8 micronutrients. There's something content in plants. Iron, boron is a central micronutrient plant is required for. Boron is sugar translocation. The major function of molybdenum is nitrogen fixation. Pyrolusite is a mineral source of manganese. Which of the following is the main source of boron? Tourmaline. Micronutrients mainly exist in soil as micronutrients exchangeable. That's, yeah, all of them. All of these. Something specific nutrient constricts in plants in the yield response. What's that? That's when it's the critical range, which is not a soil micronutrient deficiency by crops. Imbalance, overlining. High organic matter is not a soil deficiency. Interbanal chlorosis is caused by iron. Something deficiency is associated with high phosphorus. Need help. Call friend. Something deficiency, it's zinc. Yeah, I'll go with zinc. Cool. Which micronutrient combinations Indian soil, zinc and boron? Find out the wrong statement for zinc for the boron. You can read them. Deficiency, low relation boron's never found as an element. It's the A. You don't want to add too much ever. In recent years, silicon's a quasi. About 2/3 of silicon it's a reproductive stage. Borax is commonly used as a fertilizer which contains borax 10.5. I think it's similar to, yeah, good. All right, I'll remember that. That's similar to that other stuff, magnesium that you get out of Epsom salts. It's got about the same percent. I think my voice is coming through here. Testing my voice. Yep. All right, testing. Oh, g'day, Jeff, Luke, a few people. There you go. This is pretty boring, but I thought I've got to do it anyway. So up to week 6 of week 12. So I'm halfway through this talk. Something is known as the father. Lieberg's the father. The soil's nutrient content and nutrient availability generally follow it's asymptotic curve. Something is a graphical representation of crops' progress containing a series of crop logging. Right, this, you guys too listening, you can get an idea of topics for the show. If you're interested in any of these questions, you think, wow, that's fascinating. Well, ask me to elaborate, and I can more than likely show you the slides and elaborate. Immobile nutrients follow the concept of Lieberg. No, it's metacherolix. Yep, I'll go with that. Something is the term used to describe a plant with no obvious symptoms, hidden hunger. Which of the following show in a circle of the Drish chart? That's your horizontal arrows. Which of the following sampling techniques involve zoning? It's zoning. Simple quartering is done by dividing these samples into, okay, answer this. Simple quartering is done by dividing them into, well said, 4. Wow, see, you guys know heaps. See? Don't even have to blooming, just it naturally comes to you. Diagnosis of recommendations integral systems, DRIS, was, when was it formed? In 73. Most variability with the least number of samples is a goal of which of the following samples? Hybrid sampling. Plant available phosphorus in soil is determined by which method? It's Kjeldahl's. No, Olsen's method. Olsen. The something stone with the Wheatstone bridge. I know that from electrical engineering. A flame photometer is used to determine availability of the potassium in the soil. What is the depth of the soil? Sampling for cereals, vegetables, and seasonal crops. You want to sample the top where all the roots go. Spectrophotometry is a scientific method based on the absorption of light. Next. Flying through them. Soil carbon pools 3.3 times the atmospheric pool. And find out what's wrong with the statement of soils. Excessive dependence on chemicals leads to less cost of cultivation. How can you that's just bad. The role of soil testing is to act, to check, to police over everything. It's the go. That's why I'm sourcing soil testing kits, because we've all got to, test your substrates, and then you can test your plant tissue, and you know exactly what's going on. You'll know your critical limit. The critical limit of your extractable zinc per microgram of rice is 86. Your soil health card's printed, and they print it with, I think, 12 nutrients on it. B. Yeah. Under soil health card scheme, soil samples can be collected with 15 centimetre samples where your normal roots go, which is not managed. An improvement is monocropping. You don't want to do that. That's shit. Keep changing it. Many reasons why that. Ask me why later. Which is not management strategy to promote soil health. Well, monocropping. Really? It's not a management strategy. Aggressive tilling, excessive inorganic fertilizer use. Aggressive tillage isn't very good. Which is a management strategy, or to promote it. I'm so bad with getting these wrong. I read them around the wrong way and I get questions wrong all the time. Which is meant to promote soil health. Well, crop D. Flaming. Soil quality is the capacity of the soil to function. In something scoring, calculating, linear it is. Fine textured soils need more liming. When the soil pH is above 8.5, it's alkaline. The soil is classified as alkaline soil. Dispersion of soil qualities is a constraint of sodic. Subsoiling is a mechanical approach for integrated management of soils, and something involves the mechanisms of soil removal, phytostabilization. That's where you add chemicals to enhance your microbes to get them to work for you as a bioremediation process. Excuse me. Which of the following statements does not represent the characteristics of manure? Required in less quantities contains plant nutrients. It's D. Something is considered as bulky organic manures, farmyard manure, FIM. Get some good farmyard manure and you'll be surprised. Dry it, grind it up, add it to your substrate. Holy hell. Somethings are components that work so good. Somethings are components for farmyard manure, derived farmyard manure from compost. It's dung and urine. Something is not considered as a component of sustainable agriculture. Exhaustive crop. Is that something is not considered as a component of sustainable exhaustive cropping? No, that's not really sustainable. Something has weight, makes materials, can be added to fertilizers to produce the grades. Sand and soil they add. Isn't it amazing? You're buying sand and soil. In the process, that's which nutrients from organic matter become available to plants. It's when they're available, they mineralize. The objective of composting is to narrow down the C/N ratio. In situ green manuring with the dianthia, the substania species, at 60 days can accumulate 133 grams per hectare of nitrogen. The percent of P2O5 content in seed bone meal is 25. So that's what your phosphorus is 25%. So save your things, grind them up. If you live on a farm, microorganisms can be produced as a biocontrol agent. Yeah, they can. Like Pseudomonas orophaciens. The process of mineralization includes all them. Nitrogen losses through volatilization is only A. Nitrogen, yep, because it's got volatile ammonia. Iron deficiency is mostly observed in D. Ammonium phosphate fertilizer is considered as a complex fertilizer. Zinc sulfate heptahydrate is widely used and widely available, cheaper and highly soluble, which contains, I reckon, is it B? It's C. Oh, got to get one wrong, eh? Which of the following statement does not represent the current fertilizers are in India? Inadequate high FUE fertilizer. That's fine. The ideal fertilizer should be one of the following. Yep. Which of the prime distinct characteristics of slow and controlled release fertilizers? Which is a prime better nutrient supply? A fertilizer may be described as slow release under the conditions and temperature of 25 degrees. You have to see a test if they work. You don't want them to be more than 15% in 24 hours released. Then you've made a successful one. Which of the following statements is not characterized feature of customized fertilizer? Customized fertilizer developed. They're not. A. Something's defined in mechanical mixing. Produce fertilizers. Bulk blending, which is not deciding tool for the production and best customized fertilizer, which is not a deciding tool. It's the last 10 years. Bio-release smart fertilizers are designed so the nutrients released and governed by the organic acids and secretion for the exudates and microbes. Zinc polyphosphate fertilizer for soil applications contain, I think it's 21 and 18. Something you use to fortify with common straight fertilizers. You want zinc and boron. Zinc-coated urea contains a maximum of 2% zinc and 0.15 of 0.2 boron. None of the micronutrients included in water-soluble fertilizer except for A. Fertilizer Control Order, which was introduced in 1957, was revised in 85. The CFQC and Training Institute is located in Faringabad. Hi to all the people in Faringabad. Which observation cannot be considered as one of the remedial measures in quality control of fertilizers? Excessive popularization in quick tests, creating awareness, excessive one of those fields of knowledge. Which observation cannot be considered as one of the remedial measures? Excess, you know what? B. Rad. 2 to go. My hands are sore. Something is the most efficient biofertilizer, rhizobium, and doesn't work with cannabis, but rhizobium is really, really rad. Makes you little root nodules. Works really good. Refeeds the plants. That's another project for myself. Azotobacter is a group of non-symbiotic. So it's none. Mycorrhizae is a mutualistic symbiosis between the plant roots and the fungal mycelia. Something is used as non-soluble in phosphate source for isolation, enumeration, and maintenance. Tricalcium phosphate. An isolation procedure of PSMs. The growth attained 3 to 5 days. You want a 10 to the power 8 and 9. Pyrolysis happens very, very hot. Biochar, 350 to 6. Which of the following statements are characteristic of biochar? It's nutrient leaching. C. Which of the following statements is not a characteristic of mulching? A. In ridge-shaped mulching it is. Sorry, you can read that. Something soil organic matter content. Increased soil organic matter content decreases soil sealing, which it does. Nanourea is made by IFCO. Nanourea is rad. It's really hard. I can't get any. I'm spewing. I've tried, but I'm located in Australia, not India. That's where it was invented. It's so beneficial and so going to be so beneficial for the environment. Great for us to use too. The major advantages of nano urea is, I was just crapping on about it, it's all of them. It's just brilliant. Small too, 20 to 50 nanometers. IFCO nano urea leads to the farmer's income. Yeah, it helps with everything. Look, it just helps with everything. Which of the following institutions are correcting regarding nano urea? You want to use a flan seed. Potential yield is maximum yield. More than 50% of yield variation of crops is due to climate, which is the most important spectrum meter for plants, 0.4 to 0.7. We see in plants are used as indicator. It's sugar beets and collie. Total nitrogen in the lab. Oh, this is where it's Olson's is phosphorus. That's where it's Kajana. So I just know how to pronounce it. Soil test results can be classified for 180 is a medium level. Soil test for 0.2 gram of boron. 0.2 is low. No, it's medium. Boron, yep, medium. In it's Michlick's and Bray's approach. An enumerable relationship between percent yield and soil and fertilizers and nutrients is developed. A great precision cropping tool. And the Bray percent yield is C. The critical limit of any nutrient in soil and plant is determined by the procedure of... No, come on then. It's D. Cat and Nelson. Targeted yield approach is based on the principle of Liebig's law of the minimum. Yep. For developing fertilizer gradient in a field, an intensive cropping area is needed to be tested, and you can test to see if it works really well. For the valorization of cropped target yield equations, the maximum target should not exceed 75 to 80. Leaf color chart, emissions plot, and demonstration plots are used in something based. It's SN, nutrient management. I've got a cool chart too that I've made for nitrogen for cannabis, medical cannabis. Which of the following instruction is correct regarding STCR based fertilizers? The target yield. It offers an error all of these. I'll go with B. Sweet. Last one. Something as large as carbon converted. Soil is the largest terrestrial. Terrestrial is the word, because the oceans are the largest carbon reserves, but terrestrial, it is your soils. Our aim should to have a positive carbon budget. The process for carbon sequestration is transferring carbon dioxide from the atmosphere into the soils as part of organic matter. Around something of the world's carbons in some wetlands, that's 14%. Total organic carbon pools are around 20 picograms. And Eustolochrys, soil type, soil organic carbon stock in India is found low. Residuals behind low soil organic carbon in the soils are all. The difference between the maximum amount of carbon produced through photosynthesis and refrigeration is NPP, net primary production, not LPP, it's NPP. Yeah, LPP, man. The primary and acute toxic effect of nitrate concentration in drinking water found above 50 micrograms of nitrate per litre. You don't want. It gives you toxic eutrophication of soil for soil, increases that. It does take away the oxygen. It's all of them. Accumulation of arsenic in human body causes blackfoot diseases. Important to wider test tube groundwater sources. Something are added for urea to prevent surplus and transformation. Urease inhibitor. That's cool. Other stuff when you're making fertilizers to consider. Alternative solutions to stubble burning are just everything. Don't bloody burn. something is a carbon-rich source, porous substance, pyrolysis gives it away. It's biochar. Soil bulk density is a negatively correlated with crop residual return. Correct. Hey, that's it. Sick. Is there anyone here? I'll stop sharing. That's it. 4 people. Really? What are you doing? Just got home. What's up, Jeff? There was Ninja. He's going. I use borax in blacksmith, and that's the way. I love plant science. Good on ya. I love smoking weed. Woo! I'm shocked. Okay. All right, these flashcards. Yeah, it's good stuff. We're just going through it, and it's nearly done. G'day to you fellas. How you going? Sunshine too. Indica and coffee. Yep. All right. Well, that's about it. I got my exam 50 minutes, so I'm going to make something big. I'm going to have a little bit of some medicine. And if you liked that topic, we can go through it at a later date. So thanks for tuning in. This was my study session for my Soil Fertility and Fertilizers class coming up today. It is a class hosted by Professor Chakraborty, and it was a 12-week class. It was one of the better classes that I've ever done and courses that I've ever done. And it told me so much information. You can see a bit of a brief thing, what I was just talking about there. It's so related. It's just really, really cool. So anybody, yeah, thank you for watching. I'm not sure what else to say. This is about all I usually sometimes go through some slides for it. I suppose I've got 50 minutes. All right, I'll show you some slides because I did used to do that too. So, all right, not going to end yet. I'm going to go, I'll find the slide folder first because I've got some other stuff opened here. So soil fertility, here it is here. Now I'll come back to you. Now I'm going to share. So thanks for that. Thanks, Wise Ninja. Best of luck. I appreciate that, mate. I'm going to kick backside in this class. It's going to go so well. So this is all of them. This is all, and I've got all the slides under each week here and different topics, and then you would have seen just heaps of them. So I'm just going to briefly skim through them. You're going to be so amazed with this. There's some really rad stuff in this. It's all my private things. Oh, I'm here to teach about this course, so that's all it really is. So this is a chart just to show the time, perennial time from what happens with fertility for soil health, how it's fertile. You've got all these good things. This is what happens. If nutrient losses and erosion, this is what happens. These are the the ion forms which plant uptakes in. Over here, this is its forms, and actually I'm going to pretty skim through this. The mobile nutrients. This is a nutrient cycling. Talking about chelation before. This is its bonding form where you don't want the 7-to-1 ratio of magnesium to calcium because see, calcium's higher, so it's going to take over its cation position. So it's going to knock out anything under it. So if you have anything more than that, that's what it was saying before. One of the questions. This is how to get things in from the different feed ways, from releasing the diffusion mash flow, feed process of watering, zoning, carbon and nitrogen ratio. You want it too low, you get microbial biomass. See, too high, you'll get slow decomposition. So and everything relates back to this, the soil pH. Zoning cleansive. That's really cool. That's just the whole pattern on how they cycle through our system. NPKs and different experiments and organic carbon ratios over 15 years. That's the basic processes of how it happens. Biological nitrogen fixation, yeah, even in storms. So that's why it shows you can get it from the air. Your lightning combusts with nitrogen in the air, and it forms nitrogen, which can be leached and rains down to the soil and fertilizes the soil. Oh, excuse me, with nitrogen. Synthetic forms of soil nitrogen. I wonder how loud that comes through. Sorry, it's all going to happen. It's less seasonal matters in organic forms. So it's all different forms of nitrogen can happen. Soil temperature is very in relationship. Remember, like with phosphorus, as I was saying before, to 60 to 80 F. This is similar. You want to be up around the same thing for nitrogen. You're not going to cycle things too slow. That's why plants grow slow in colder substrates. plants and uptake, classifications, general things, advantages of foliar. That's massive. Foliar is so well and not talked about. It works so blooming well. Just don't put what they say on the box. You have to put it in ratios of about 100 ppm. Phosphorus solubilizing bacteria, it's the best way to get any action. You always want to use your microbes. Classification of fertilizers, that's where it was had that ratios before. Comparative fertilizer value is good. Potassium, common Ks, potassium fertilizers, calcium. Remember that ratio, 7:1. Calcium deficiency. Sulfur cycle, sulfur fertilizer, ammonium sulfate. It's good. I use that in foliar for precision times. Sulfur availability. Yes, see, it's availability of nutrients with different applications of pH. It's cool. That's everything comes back to that pH thing. But with foliar, that's why you can get it in real fast. It's really good. And to nitrogen to sulfur ratio. So yeah, just for different crops, you want the right thing. It's already under control in this region. Magnesium, sources of it. Epsom salt, see how it's got 10%. Remember, like before, how I converted, I thought the boron had 10.5% in it. It was a good comparison. Forms of magnesium. Yep. Guidelines for fertilizer use. Antagonism. Synergist. This is a brilliant chart. This is one I'd like to explain a bit more. Ask me about this. I'll go into detail about this. This shows the relationship on how different elements work with each other and they don't work with each other. How they will block each other and some will be really work well. That's where that chart goes into. Not today. Soil health indicators. Yes. More up there, the critical information about plant tissue. Yeah, that's pretty cool. This is a nice chart. Just shows on the left, on the right-hand side here, on how things were discovered and more things plants need and more. Now 2050, what's going to be the next element after nickel? Functions. How am I going? I've got 44 minutes left. Boron. Yeah, these are all its major functions. Sources of macro. Yeah, good. Soil cycling. pH again. Mobile. Soil organic matter. Soil organic matter is so important. It's just so important. It's really everything, and and you get the hell of a lot of that out of your farmyard manure or any manure. The source I use kangaroo and rabbit manure because I know they don't take antibiotics, the wild ones around here, and it works really well. There's the hidden hunger thing that we're talking about before. One of those questions. You don't want to be in hidden hunger. It's hard to tell when you're in hidden hunger, but there is ways of identifying it. Simple. Yep, the 4 R's. R. Yes, to you Canadian US folk. The R's. That's what you want to do. Simple practices. Addressing micronutrients. This is really good. That's a good slow chart to go through that one. Zincs applications, soil fertility, tissue testing. This is what it's got to be done. I'm getting some soil test kits, and they can test individual elements. And what we do with the plant tissue is you wash it, grind it, dry it, grind it, and put it in the same situation, and you test the elements. So you'll know at different growth stages what your plant is uptaking, because different cultivars uptake different things. So it's a thing for precision cropping as well. And the test kits that I'm sourcing them, they should be like under probably 50 cents to $1 Australian per test. So it's not top dollar. But the kits are going to be top dollar. Like they'll probably be like $300 or $400, but they retail for probably up $1,000. Like they're not cheap, but I want to make them affordable for everybody so we can all do this, because it's need to know. You don't want to guess. You need tools. Crop logging, that's right. So you can put it on crop logs. You can work out what's going on. You can put charts up like this chart and see what's happening. And know next time, oh look, when I did that, that happened. Oh look, that's when it happened. When that spiked in that plant tissue at that stage. Just really cool and simple things that really anybody can do. Benefits of soil testing. Yes, there's so many different benefits. This is how to sample with a zone sampling I was talking before. You want your point grid sampling. That's the best way to do it with your zigzag. So after I get the test kits, I'll be going into heavy detail on how to do it properly with your augers and different types of depth that you have to take it at. Yes. Different methods, that's how to do it. And the way that I'm being taught too, I don't have to go out and buy top dollar machines. This is all done with very, very cheap, virtually homemade tools. It's really terrific. And then they show us the way to do it in the States, where you can go out and buy machines and press a button and you get the same thing. But I like this old school way because I don't have much money and I still want to get the same results. And most people don't have much money and they'd like these results. So I'm really privileged and appreciative to have that knowledge from them. Soil sampling. Here we go. That's what you want to do. And now I'm going to skim through this. There's a lot on it. See how to do it properly. You got to quarter it so you get the right. That's how to do it in the field. Interpretation, or you can buy a machine. This is how you work out your cation exchange. So you want to put in elements that are going to exchange, and then you can work out at the end what's been exchanged for. So that's why you'll test with your CalMag, and then you have your ammonium in the end. So you've got to go through these 4 steps and test it. I'm getting a soil organic carbon tester, an analog tester, which should be a lot easier. So we can correlate that a bit with cation exchange. Because if your organic carbon is still high, that means you're going to have a high cation exchange. And it's a lot easier than doing those types of tests, which no one wants to do and wait an hour and stuff for. Calibration, interpretation, yes. Indicator plants, yeah. Virtual. 1,000 years requires to develop 25 millimeters of soil surface from parent materials through natural processes. Isn't that amazing? 1 inch of soil takes 1,000 years to develop naturally. So appreciate your soil. Goal. All right. Soil. Yeah, this is some cool health cards. Quality, what to look for. Comparisons from testing. You want to test and test. And then you know the answers. Correlating soil quality. How do you know what to put in there? Yes, well, if you test, you'll get the results and you'll know. I've added too much. It's not cycling through this. Why not? Oh, because I haven't done this right. Advantages, compost. Yes, heaps of compost, heaps of worm castings. Advantages, look at the different oil cakes you can use with your NPKs. So your oil cakes is after processing the material, they leave, it's called a cake afterwards. So for instance, coconut. So after I process it, you'd end up with coconut cake. And they got edible ones, which are good for the cattle examples, and ones that are not edible, which you don't give to any of your animals. NPKs, this is all because I get taught the organic way. It's the best way to be. It helps sustainable agriculture to do it multiple over and over. It's going to be the future. It's the only way forward. So, all right, I've got half an hour. I want to end this, I think. Foliar sprays, I've talked a fair bit about that, why they're so cool and useful. Talked about the numbers that I use and that I find beneficial. Way forward. Yep. Polymer coated. Yep, this is some getting into some stuff. So customize. Yep, we'll start. That's designing fertilizers, which I can do too, which I actually got. Yes, anyway, definitely. Thanks everybody. Anything up here? I'm just going to skim up. No. Cool, and Luke, can't believe you're a Sydney. Manganese. I didn't know. I downloaded a SIN chart for Perfect Gardens. Luke tune in next Cool Hand Luke, tune in next Saturday on one of the exams. I'll go into detail, ask a question, mate. I'm sure it's in Ninja. What's a SIN chart? What newts? I've learnt potassium and phosphorus lock out magnesium. Okay. That zinc absorption and UV, says Kermit. Onto AussyCC, another show today. No, it's I just finished up a study session, exam session. I showed maybe 150 odd questions from soil science, from Soil Fertility and Fertilizers course, and went through all them extensively. Not extensively, just briefly went through them. And it's my study session. I have the exam in 37 minutes. I've got to sign on, and I have a 3-hour exam for it. So this is part of my study session for each course. I've always done this. And tomorrow I've got it for, where's my exam paper? It's for entrepreneurship is another course, and environmental biotechnology, which is all about microbes. So that's, I'll do one for them. because both of them are very interesting. Entrepreneurship, if you don't want to work for anybody else, that's where you should work for. And it's so easy to do it with all these different types of skills and avenues and things that you can do. And that's why I show in my weekly show about the jobs for entrepreneurships for cannabis people, so they can get ideas to entrepreneurship for themselves, because it's a good way. Yes, we can all be bosses, or we can all own, work for ourselves successfully. So it's good. Yeah, so sorry, Monty, but a bit late, mate. 45 minutes. I didn't plan to go this long, but actually most of them go for about 40 minutes. So it worked out all right. I showed some of the slides and stuff, and didn't have any guests though, but lucky, because I just would have got talking, because I like to help out. So anything I can help out. Yeah, Monty, environmentally friendly biology would be cool as, he reckons. It is. It's a great course. It's, yeah, I did it last semester, but the exam wasn't available, so I had to sit the exam this semester. But it's just helps out with understanding microbes and their processes and why they're there, because they go through they're there for a reason, and they're only there for their electron acceptor and electron donor and their carbon source. And if that's not there, they just go into dormancy. So if you see a large amount of nitrogen fixing ones, you go, all right, they're in the nitrogen phase. So they're lost oxygen and they're looking for a electron donor through nitrate, which is the NO2 or the NO3, or the nitrite, which is the NO2 as an example. And then they'll go into a sulfur phase where they'll use the oxygen out of the sulfur molecules. So you'll see if there's heaps of sulfur solubilizing bacteria, that means they're in that phase. So it's just helps out with teas, making a lot of microbe teas and stuff, because microbes is the future. Microbes rule. They're everything. They rule us. They're in our guts, etc. And it's all to do with plants. So it's pretty cool. Send me the test questions, CC. No, you look through the thing, Monty, lazy ass. I'm not sending you nothing. I'm disabled in my hands, remember. I don't like using my hands if I don't have to. Yeah, I got this invisible disability no one really knows about, but I am disabled and struggle. Anyway, so yeah, it's you'll see if you play this back through, Monty, it's quite fast the way I go through it. If anything, it's a bit too fast, and I don't help out the listener. But it was more so just to help me out and to help others possibly. They could just play it if they were having the exam, or if they were something like that, because it's some pretty good information. And this course was written in 2022, so it's really new stuff. It's one of the better ones I've done. It's in the top 3 courses I've ever done. Yeah, I like it, and the teacher's rad too. Professor Chakraborty, I've done maybe 5 of his courses so far, and this is the best one. We've had interactions, and he calls me Aussie and stuff. It's pretty funny. And anyway, I'll talk about me. So I can have a study session after. Monty says, yeah, mate, you can press play on this and you can study back with virtual me again. Woohoo! There you go, Monty. All right. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Sunshine. Thanks, Cool and Luke. Thanks, everybody, for listening to me carry on about soil fertility and fertilizers. A brilliant course, and if anybody's interested in taking any of these courses, I will help you get enlisted into them. They cost $50 for the exams and for the certificate, or they're free to do everything else. So anybody's welcome. I would like to help anybody. And yeah, it's all online. I sit here and do my exams. I don't have to go into university, into some with hang out with all these smelly asses. It's really, really convenient for me too. So that's why I'll be doing it. And I've got more subjects. Its semester starts early February next year, and I've already got a new microbe course. Can't wait. It's a new one. So that's going to be really cool. Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody, again. I'll be doing this. I'll do it tomorrow. So if you see me up again tomorrow, it'll be for another study sesh, probably for entrepreneurship in the morning, or definitely for bio in the afternoon, environmental biotechnology. It's a bit more harder, but yeah. Good on you. Thanks, Barker Perkins, and everybody else's support too. Good on you. Cheers, everyone. Happy breeding, happy growing, and good health to you all. Goodbye, good night, good day. Thank you.